if you go to a nice restaurant and you see you looking at the steaks or entrees and you see market price, it's like, well, okay, I don't even know what I'm getting myself into. I know that I want a fillet, but do I want a fillet as bad as they're going to charge me for it, or do I want something different that the price is marked on, you know? What's up, everybody?
I'm gonna
Welcome
see.
back to the Tactical Agents Podcast. That's Trey, who is saying something. I don't know what you're saying.
I interrupted you. My bad.
But we're here. We're in another episode.
We're here.
It's me, Mike Edwards, and Trey Serrano. Michigan and Texas represent. We're here, and today we are going to talk about dumb things realtors do on Facebook. Maybe they do them everywhere, but I'm specifically thinking about Facebook. And we're not trying to be mean to you. We're just trying to kind of talk about things, practices maybe that we see happening out there that probably are at the least they're not doing what you think they might do. At worst, they could be actually kind of turning people away from you. So yeah, let's just get right into it. And I'll just tell you my first one that drives me absolutely insane. It drove me insane before I became a realtor. It drives me insane as a realtor. And that is when realtors share a listing and they tell you everything except the price. They don't list the price of the freaking home. And I have done anecdotal research on this. Anecdotal, I'll emphasize that, where I ask people about this. And it is like one of the number one pet peeves of people on Facebook when they see a listing. If they don't see the page, if they click on something and then it's asking them for information, they're out. Because most of the people who are going to click on that are not in the market, but they might know people. They might share the listing if it's like, oh, I know someone that's looking for a house in that price range, or I might consider buying a house that looked like that, but I don't even know what this costs. And so they just like toss it to the wind. They hate it. They feel very bait and switch. I don't even know if you share my opinion on this or not. What do you think?
So no, I totally agree. And I agree so much without even us discussing it before this call or the Zoom is I take off the forced registry
Yeah.
on my CRM. So when I put a link up to the listing I'm sold, like you don't even have to like register because you have to. It's just, you just get the information. Like
Yep.
you can hop on, hop off the website anytime, damn time you want, and you don't have to do that stuff. So it's yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like this seems like it's if you go to a nice restaurant and you see you looking at the steaks or entrees and you see market price, it's like, well, okay, I don't even know what I'm getting myself into. I know that I want a fillet, but do I want a fillet as bad as they're going to charge me for it, or do I want something different that the price is marked on, you know? I don't think it's it's fantastic to hide things from people. I think people love getting information and just just tell them what it is. And I know a lot of people, the logic is exactly what you just mentioned. Like, oh, I get them on my website and then they have to register. So now they're on your email list. Well, like, do you want people on your email list that don't really want to be there? Do you want people really who don't want to hear from you? Or do you want people who are eager to hear from you? You know, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it's a pet peeve. And I know that lots of realtors still do it and still have business. It's just, I just don't like it. I think it's dumb.
No, I totally agree. And actually, let me ask you this, Mike. So what do you think about when agents post just sold and there's no price? What are your thoughts on that?
It's the same. I don't know. I don't even like the just sold posts. I don't like them. I want to know the story. Like I get showing proof. I think like showing that, hey, I'm in real estate. Like from an agent perspective, what are you trying to convey? I want to convey that I'm I can actually accomplish what I say I can accomplish, right? Like I can do this and I can show you how to that here's proof of just sold. But I want a story about that. I want to know like Man, here is this couple that this tell me the story, right? A good story always has a hero who runs into a problem, needs help from somebody to guide them, and then there's a resolution, right? This is like the
Yep.
basic story format. And so
Yeah.
tell me about the client. What was challenging about the transaction? How did you solve it? And now what is the result? What are the
Yep.
results, numbers or otherwise? Like I want to know the people involved, the real estate agent involved, more than I care about the fact that it just sold. Like I want more
Yeah.
information. Again, like
Yeah.
just posting the just sold or even the just listed. Anything that's just like a photo of that is just, I don't think it goes anywhere because it really doesn't say anything, you know?
Yes. And I did a deep dive on this because we do a Tuesday night tactics. Just like a bunch of us jump on a Zoom on a Tuesday night. We have a little sip of bourbon and we just talk for an hour every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we did a deep dive into um, storytelling. And if those of you listening look at YouTube in YouTube Casey Neistat. Have you heard of
Hmm.
him, Mike?
Oh yeah.
He's such an incredible storyteller, and he's like a super creative. So like, don't try to mimic his stuff, but it's just he broke down in one video about storytelling. How do you storytell? And it's exactly what you just said. It's that there's a situation or a hero, and then there's a conflict, and then there's a resolution. Like
Hmm.
that's what keeps people engaged. It's like, well, I want to know who wins. Like I want to know how this is resolved, like the curiosity of it. So in every transaction is some kind of conflict, and it's not all like everybody won. It's like you should add a little flavor of conflict, like we worked with them for 6 months, or it took a year. I actually posted that took a year to sell this house, and this is the conflict, and this was the resolution. We got a
Hmm.
5-star review at the end, even after spending a year trying to sell this property. And I got, comments and like, hey man, that was cool. Like, thanks for sharing that. Cause I've had similar experiences and you get the relatability. So
Yeah,
yes, I agree.
for sure. Well, what would you say is a dumb thing that you see agents doing on Facebook?
Man, negativity. So the
Oh,
negativity
that's a good one.
against other brokerages or other agents or other I'm just like, dude, if you're spending effort, like it's already time consuming to produce content like for your own business. But if you're going to take even if it's seconds to bash another brokerage or another agent about whatever nonsense, it's like, dude, if you're spending time to do that, that means that you're not all there to begin with.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen this before where I actually have somebody in my mind that is on my Facebook list. That's a real estate agent. Like, and out of every 10 posts, 9 of them are something negative about the industry or about the other agent on the other side, always painting everybody else that's not them in the transaction as sort of like the enemy, right? The bad
Yep.
guy, and being negative. And it's like, wow, that just doesn't inspire people
No.
at all. I literally, when rates started climbing, right, and it started looking worse for a lot of buyers in the market, I actually ended up with a list buy scenario. Somebody, called me up out of the blue. I mean, we know each other, but like, hey, can you come take a look at our house and consider helping us? Well, of course, yep. I come out there, and I always ask people, I'm like, well, what led you, to connect with me on this or whatever, trying to understand how my business works. And this couple knew other realtors, but the reason they said that they ended up going with me was because they said, we always see when you post online, you're always positive about what's going on out there. And everyone else said, this is a horrible time to do
Mm.
anything, or it's always negative, or it's impossible to find a place, or whatever, like all the negativity. And I just, yeah, 100% agree with you that it is not smart to be negative all the time. Like, don't
Yeah.
be dishonest, but don't be negative. It doesn't,
And
who
if
does that
you're gonna
serve?
say something yeah, if you're gonna say something negative, like, um, the news posts something about San Antonio, like San Antonio, lost a major employer, right? Like, if you post that and I think if you end whatever negativity you're going to say about your city, like that's a horrible thing, right? Like, let's say 1,000 people lost their jobs and some business closed down. Then I would say, like, in the post, well, this may affect these areas and it may affect traffic conditions. It may affect the amount of homes that are going to be listed because now people need to move and relocate for work. Like, this is how it's going to affect it. Is just, I don't know if it's smoothing out, but it's just building a little curiosity around something else that was posted that was negative. So you're not
Mhm.
giving a solution to the negativity. You're not saying, "Oh, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep buying houses." But you're saying, like, this is going to affect this, and these are the pros, these are the cons. What do you think?
Yeah. Letting the reader decide for themselves what their opinion is on a matter.
Exactly.
Inviting them into a conversation about something that impacts an area. Yeah, I like that. Um, another one for me is when it doesn't matter whether I guess I'll just say this, like, just sharing every single business page post on their personal page.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
a lot of realtors create um a business page and then they have their, like, personal Facebook. I mean, I'm a big believer, and I think you are too, in using your personal page pretty much because people want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. But where are they going to get to know you and what you love and prefer and enjoy and celebrate or get stressed out about or whatever, like, without looking at your personal page? But a lot of realtors just constantly share their business page with, like, dry marketing flyers or information or an open house, or whatever else, like, just constantly
Yeah.
sharing that stuff. And I don't think that it has the impact. I don't think that that's a smart play. I think it's a
Yeah.
dumb play. What do you think?
No, yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite things to do is, like, the new agents that I would train. I would tell them, like, okay, let's sit down together either on a Zoom call or in person, and let's, like, pretend and whitewash our brains, and we're like a total stranger. Now let me look at your Facebook page to even see if I can know you before reaching out to you. Do you think I would reach out to somebody that has, like, a Canva post and, like, an emoji or something, and, like, there's nothing else there? Like, no video, no, like, hearing you speak. Are you educated enough to, like, know what's going on? Like, do you, like, no. I mean, and then they're like, "Oh, I never thought of it that way." But if you put yourself in somebody else's shoes and
Yep.
audit your page, that's where you can say, like, "Oh man, like, if I didn't know me, I wouldn't know what I was like." And
Yeah.
it's true. Like, most people know at least 5 or 6 agents that in
Mhm.
their Facebook group or they follow or whatever. So how are you going to stand out? And yeah, what you said is the dumb, like, sharing of an article without any context about what you think, or like a Canva pre-made image. That stuff gives me a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, like, too, if you're over another thing that's dumb to do is over post about real estate, if that makes sense. Like, because again, coming back, if people really do business with people that they know, like, and trust, they need to get to know, like, and trust you, which a piece of that is real estate, but it's not the whole picture. Right.
Mhm,
And I think Gary Vee is really good at describing this when he talks about jab, 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 cross, like,
mhm,
I'm talking about, if you look at my page, it's like family, faith, fun, or funny, fitness, like, I with jujitsu, like, I'll post stuff about that. Like, I'm showing my real side, my real personality that will connect with an ideal client on the other side. And then you build the trust up when you share something honestly about the work that you're doing. You give them a little bit of a behind the scenes into the business. You're talking about your business in a way that celebrates the clients or adds value to somebody,
mhm,
right? Like, actually gives them information that is helpful or useful for
mhm.
them to think through something, not just dry facts. And I think, like, just over posting about real estate, like, honestly, at this point, what I'm recommending to agents that come to me to ask this question is like, I purposely would restrict your posting to real estate to like 1 out of 10 posts, right? Like if you post a lot or post a little, like you got to get into a rhythm and share a lot more about you. Now we could go down this path. We don't have time, but there is a way to sort of like blend all of that stuff,
Mhm.
right? Like you can blend your interests and experiences. And like I could share a family post. Like I'm taking my wife to Cincinnati for the weekend and we're going to hang out. We've got a whole agenda and see some sights, hang out with some friends. So we're going this weekend, and I could post about the fact that like I'm so thankful for a business that allows me to choose when I'm going on vacation or when I'm taking a
Yeah,
weekend
yeah,
off. Like so I can sort of blend business and family and they could see my values together. But just to keep it simple, I would just say like don't over post about real estate to where people feel like they're not seeing you. They're only seeing
yeah.
business,
Uh,
you know?
yes, absolutely. And now here's the devil's advocate side of it, or the caveat to that. I think people enjoy posting things that they're doing, so it's easier for
Mhm.
agents to post about that. But
Yep.
then if they post too much, so like if they're doing 20 posts about their family and only one about something in real estate, and then that real estate post is super weak,
Yep.
then it might be a little too much. So like I've even personally pulled back on posting the things that I do, like vacation or like a fancy dinner, which I'm not very fancy, but if I do a fancy dinner, like I don't post about it,
Mhm.
and it's I think it's also because the person that I'm trying to work with is, some kind of veteran first responder client. So like I know they're probably doing overtime or, long hours, and they relate to somebody who's working a little bit more like, so
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think that
Yeah, I
could be the
agree.
other side
I
of it.
think, like, I see what you're saying, and I think it goes to that last point, which is, like, white free create some, fresh eyes to analyze what somebody's seeing, and if you start with your ideal client in mind, who is it that I wanna work with, or who is it that I'm in front of? How will they what are they thinking when they see these things, right? And you
Yes.
have to have a blend of never giving up your authentic self, never trying to be someone you're not, um, but also communicating the right message to your ideal client. So I think there's a good balance to be struck there. That's why social media can sometimes be very much like surfing, right? Like you're just kind of reading the horizon in the moment and trying to ride a particular wave, even in a given day versus like a given season of life. But
Yes.
all right. Well, those are a few dumb things that we discussed. What do you think you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously you can drop a comment right here about what you would add to the conversation in this, and maybe you give us some ideas for future content. If you're not, that's okay too. You can join the conversation. If you go to tacticalagents.com, you can get access to the group and chat with us there or
Mhm.
whatever. We're here. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, of course, they don't allow comments there, but I guess you can shoot us an email. I don't even know what our email is, but you can track it down. We're just trying to help you think differently about the business and succeed, crush your goals without needing to feel like you're a traditional salesy kind of a person, and you can really make some massive progress while still being yourself. So that's what we're here
Hell yeah.
for. Hopefully it's helpful to you guys. Just want to add some value to your business. You got any questions or anything, always just reach out. We're here. Until next episode. Peace.
Peace.